future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Thank you. Welcome to all of our friends, all of our listeners from across the globe and around our beautiful, wonderful country. Welcome to another edition of Focus with Ron Frierson. And I got my brother here with me again, Mr. Woody Wilson.
What's up, Ron? Good to see you, bro.
We're going to take a holiday break, and obviously we took a break for Thanksgiving last week. So we thank all of you guys for joining in with us again. And we're going to jump right into it today. First things first, one of the things that happened this week within the last couple of days is the news articles about Carrier, which is a air conditioner manufacturer in Indiana, and how they've decided to keep jobs in Indiana because of a phone call from Donald Trump. Now, I have a special relationship with this entire sort of situation because that's essentially what I've done for a living for a long time. Is I help companies that are looking to expand, relocate, or consolidate facilities, and I help them gather in all of the different business tax incentives that go towards that effort. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a little expertise, kind of give you a little bit of a behind-the-curtain view of how this thing works and how it was fantastic optics for Trump to go at it in this way. But at the same time, it's not something that's so fantastic. I mean, if you think about it, him saving 1,000 jobs as opposed to President Obama in the auto bailout saving 1 to 2 million jobs, it really doesn't compare. So anyway, Carrier, it's great for those 1,000 people, but Carrier, they announced sometime last year that they were going to move that production facility in Indiana down to Mexico, and it was roughly 21 or 2,200 jobs that were going to move. Obviously, this was in the thick of the political season, and Donald Trump promised that if he became president, then he was going to save these jobs. So what happened is, fast forward, is that Donald Trump did contact the CEO of the parent company, which is UTI, United Technologies, and they worked out a deal to keep 1,000 of those jobs in Indiana. So of the 21 or 2,200 jobs that were supposed to leave and go to Mexico, he saved 1,000 of them. So that means that there's still about 1,200 jobs that will still go to Mexico. Okay, so that's part one. So when he saved 1,000 jobs, it's not like he saved the entire plant. But for those 1,000 people who kept their jobs, we have to admit that that's a good thing for them. Now, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that we never hear about, okay? Usually when stuff like this happens, there are incentives involved. In this case, the state of Indiana, they're granting $7 million worth of incentives over 10 years. So, and most of these incentives are tax credits. So tax credits only hold value based on your tax liability. So it's really easy for governments to give tax credits because they know in order for you to owe for them to give you a credit of $7 million worth of taxes, that means you must have had to earn enough money in profits before tax that will merit you having to pay $7 million, and then you can be credited for it. So this is always easy. So that means if the company doesn't make enough money, that means these credits go unused, and there's no skin off the government's teeth. This is why this is important. It's important because the way it's looking, it seems as if the people of Indiana are going to come out of pocket even more. They're going to lose 1,200. The company's coming out on top. They're going to lose 1,200 jobs going to Mexico, Okay, and they're going to pay another $7 million because that tax credit, those states have to have a balanced budget by law. So whatever gaps in the tax revenue that comes from them giving this money to Carrier, that in itself will be made up by the people who are living there. That's number two. Number three, you don't know what sort of concessions they're going to have to make in regards to wages. Maybe if they were making $20 an hour before, now they may have to make $10 an hour. They're going to have to cut a deal with the union. Maybe wages are going to go down. Maybe pensions are going to go down. Retirement. Maybe the benefit package itself is going to be decreased in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this that's behind the scene. But the smart thing that Trump did, the smart thing he did, was that he used the optics. Now, sometimes, and like I said before, and what it is where you can chime in, I believe that if Hillary did something similar in Flint, Michigan, if she just went to Flint and gave efforts in regards to saying we care about what's going on in Middle America, this is why we're here, and instead of coming out here to try to get money from high-end donors, go to the breadbasket and try to let them know that she's in tune with what they're feeling. Go to some of these Rust Belt states, and then maybe she wouldn't have lost. What do you think?
About her losing or about Trump's Carrier save?
Both.
Well, everyone's excited about it. I mean, it is a step in the right direction, but like you said, Obama saved 1,100 jobs. He saved the whole industry, the automobile industry, when the Republicans wanted him to not do so. So, I mean, this is just a first step in the right direction. Don't get too excited, folks. But, I think Hillary, we could look back and talk about all the things she could have done. But unfortunately, hindsight is 20/20. So at this point, I mean, I got to give the man. I'm looking at his cabinet. I'm hoping that he's putting together a strong team. I'm a little concerned about James Mattis, but I think what he did with Carrier was a great step in the right direction.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not very excited with it. I mean, we have to also admit. I mean, the thing is that whenever credits are given, and remember, this is my business. Whenever credits are given, somebody's paying for it. So in this case, taxpayers are paying for that $7 million over 10 years, and they're still losing 1,200 jobs. And I almost guarantee, because the company had already built this facility in Mexico and they had the plans to do it and they decided to pull the plug, one of the major reasons they decided to keep those $1,000 here are because of political pressure. Mike Pence happens to be the governor, or was the governor of Tennessee. I mean, not Tennessee, but of Indiana. So you got a situation where the governor is now going to be the vice president. You got the president-elect who comes in and says, we need to save these jobs. The company is going to they still built their plant in Mexico, and they're still sending 1,100 to 1,200 jobs down there. And they said, no, but we're not going to send all of them like we were before. We're only going to send 1,200. We're going to leave 1,000 here. So, but of these 1,000 we leave here, we're still going to have benefit packages to pay. We're still going to have salaries to pay. We're still going to have retirement and pension things to pay. So you guys are going to have to give us some concessions on that end, because those are long-term expenses. So I almost guarantee you that if not now, at some point in the future, we're going to hear about the salaries that are going to decrease at that same plant.
Yeah, but, folks are happy. The local folks are happy. They're going to
at least 1,000 of them.
At least 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
And it gives the appearance, like you said, the optics of it all. But when you lift the hood and look underneath it, it's not as great as it may seem. But again, he's trying to give the illusion that he's doing something.
Democrats need to learn from that.
I'm just wondering if there was any concessions made in terms of, he's a developer, and Carrier makes air conditioning units. If there was any concessions made in terms of how he would do business for it. And I know he couldn't directly say that, but maybe one of his children, were in on the meeting or something. I wonder if there's a wink nod type of thing going on.
You know what could happen? Well, we know that the major, they had the carrot and then they had the stick. The stick was, the carrot is the $7 million. And the carrot was also all these other things that are behind the scenes that I spoke of that are likely going to have to be conceded by the union and by the state, whether it's, because one thing, they report tax credits, but they may not report cash. Because, again, like I said before, Tax credits only hold value based on your tax liability. Someone can give me a $3 million tax credit right now, but because I don't owe $3 million in taxes, it doesn't make any difference.
Right.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. You can give me $3 million in tax credits all you want, and I don't have $3 million, so it doesn't matter because my tax liability doesn't meet that. And also in the state of Indiana, you cannot sell your tax credits for money. So it's not like you can go on a different market, secondary market, and sell those credits and get money for them. So that means that they have that. They likely have some other sort of economic development institutions that have given some sort of cash, and then they're going to cut down on all their expenses in regards to the wages and things of that sort. But
you think it's a good thing what Trump did?
I think that the optics, I think is smart. This is why I think I don't think it's like good in the end unless you fix the entire system so that everybody, because now what's going to happen, which is already happening, is that you're going to have other closings and other plants that are going to come to him asking, okay, save me now. You just did that for them. Why can't you do it for us? I can see him opening up that Pandora's box coming his way rather than fixing the systemic problem. And then we will probably go somewhere and then be a little bit more feasible. And especially since the company had already announced that they're already going there, and he came in after the fact. But it's good for those 1,000 people, and trust me, I get it. I mean, if you have your job, if your job is one of the ones that say, even if you have to take a pay cut, taking a pay cut is easier than not having any pay. So I'm with you there. Mm-hmm. So. But I think that the Democrats can learn from this, because one thing that Trump has mastered, he's mastered the graphics. He knows how to get the maximum impact from media exposure.
Yeah, I got a feeling the Democratic Party is going to learn a lot from Trump.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I mean, I'm looking at his cabinet, the people he's putting in place to charge forward, and I think this guy might be ready to get some things done. We'll see how it turns out, folks. I mean, but there's concerns in different cabinet positions, but I mean, I think it was a great save for those folks. And
for those folks, those optics, that's a great save. But at the same time, this is the deal with this. If this were President Obama to have done that, well, I'm not even going to go there, because then we're speaking in hypotheticals. But I don't think President Obama gets enough credit for the 1.2 million jobs he saved in the automotive industry.
4.9% unemployment.
4.9 came out today. 4.9% unemployment. Now what they say, and which is true, is that sometimes those numbers are padded because it only counts the people who have filed for unemployment in any given time. But still, at the same time, if you're going to use those metrics to judge one administration, you're going to have to use them to judge all administrations.
Right, exactly.
So based on the numbers that they're using, this is okay. It's better than okay. It's under 5%.
But it doesn't really reflect the quality of jobs that folks have. They're working at Starbucks.
Exactly,
or
having to work.
Or,
exactly. That's so true.
Because technology, I think what happened with the Great Recession was that companies realized they didn't need the amount of employees they had on hand to perform certain tasks. So once they started to kind of to let folks go, they realized, hey, you know what? This guy can do the position of 5 people, and those jobs will never come back, folks. Then you have technology that's taken over.
Absolutely.
And so we're in a position now where, you have to have a college degree, number one, to enter into the workforce, and if you don't, unfortunately, you're going to be left behind.
That's a good point, what you made right there. This is why some of these 1,000 jobs that are going to be there, okay, they may not be jobs in the same shape, form, and fashion. We already spoke about what the labor rates could be once these jobs stay here. But they've also included a $16 million capital investment for this carrier facility in Indiana. So that's if you're going to invest $16 million, okay, and you're going to decrease the labor rates, and you're going to be able to decrease the pension liabilities and things of that sort. So that means this is going into equipment. That means this stuff is going into machinery that can supplant or do away with human labor, and a machine can do. It's automation, like you were saying.
Right.
And so when it's automation, there may be some of these people that are going to stay are some of the higher tech jobs that they would be able to keep there and run these machines and things of that sort. So and then also, we also know that Carrier has other manufacturing facilities across the country. What's to say, which happens, that to get in good with the vice president and the president of the United States, it wouldn't be a surprise to me if they also shed jobs at some of their other facilities across the country to kind of even things out, to kind of supplant the fact that they are going to keep 1,000 jobs.
Right.
So you never know.
You never know. This is just a headline, folks.
Yeah, this is just a headline. But I wish that the Democrats were smart enough to do stuff to make it, because a lot of times it's about what people feel. If the people can see you doing something and they can feel it, then they go for it. And I thought that his speech at the plant, when he was there in Indiana at the Carrier plant, I was like, this is what made him win. He seemed to be in touch with the people. He seemed to say, okay, I saw what this was going to do to you. And forget all the BS, in the details, because that's what we know. We know the details.
We know the details.
We know the media is not going to tell all the details. Correct. Because they only go for the headlines.
Right.
So because we know the details and because I know that business, I know a little bit about how the sausage is made. But in this regards, you just see what a Democrat could do if they went into some of these factories that they and what used to be largely Democratic strongholds, like I said in Flint, and say, listen, we're going to fix this entire 50 square miles of these pipes here in Flint. We're going to start here. Mm-hmm. The whole city needs to be worked on. Right. But what if they just said, we're going to fix this certain section and we're going to work on this now, and then we're going to build from here.
And we're going to employ local people to make it happen.
Exactly. If they would just put those optics together as opposed to just coming and making a speech with no real action. And even if they are having action, I don't know if they're having real action there right now. But if they are, and there are no cameras there, then to the rest of the country and to the rest of the Rust Belt states, they might as well not be there.
They might as well not be there. And I think the appeal for Trump is that he's a blue-collar guy. Even though he's a billionaire, he's a blue-collar guy. He can identify, or seemingly so, connect with them with his speeches, and they understand him. And he's not trying to speak above them. He's just getting to the facts. We're going to build. We're going to grow. We're going to do things. We're going to knock them out. And people, he was elected on that.
Yeah, exactly. So we can learn from Democrats. Can learn from him in that regard. We can learn from him in regards to optics. We can learn from him in regards to trying to really identify with working class Americans. So that's good Trump. So this first 15 quarter of the show, we've talked about good Trump. So just when I started to feel a little more, like a little less anxious about this young man. So after this, he did something that brought the bad Trump out. He had a rally. Now, any president, after President Obama had his victory, after President George W. Bush had his victory, both of his victories, after each president, after they win, they seem to be gracious and they try to bring the country together the first time they speak after winning a major election. This was one of the most divisive campaigns of the modern era, without a doubt. But instead of making a speech, you know what? I take that back. In the beginning, he was trying to be inclusive because you saw him looking back and forth, looking at the teleprompter. I'm telling you, Trump made another speech yesterday in Ohio. Once he leaves the teleprompter, that's when he goes off. When he starts to speak from his heart and leaves the teleprompter alone, that's when he goes off. And that's what actually scares me about this man. He's going to put smart people around him. Whether or not you agree with some of the people, I probably wouldn't agree with some of the people. I actually don't mind General Mattis or Mateus. How do you pronounce his name? Is it Mattis?
Mattis, yeah.
Yeah.
M-A-T-T-I-S.
I don't really mind him as much because I've heard some of his people that he's led over the years speak about him, and they've said nothing but good things. But
he seems, they call him Mad Dog Mattis.
Yeah, I understand that he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that Mad Dog nickname.
Yeah. But if that's any indication of his kind of enthusiasm to go to war, that's what's concerning.
That is concerning. And you know what else is concerning is that he has this general. He's thinking about General Petraeus perhaps for the Secretary of State, and there's another general that he was thinking about for his cabinet position, and that's not a good optic either. You don't need to have 3 or more generals in cabinet positions. Understand that this is supposed to be a civilian positions, civilian, not military run. I don't know.
But it makes sense to me though to have the Secretary of Defense be a military guy.
Well, he has to be at least out of the military for at least 7 years.
Yeah,
He's only been out for 3, so they're going to
Yeah.
have to get a special waiver for him to be able to to hold that office, which is
But
fine.
that makes sense to me, though.
Yeah, but that by
Secretary
itself,
of Defense
yeah,
to be a military guy.
yeah, you're right. That by itself does make sense.
Because it was
I'm with you.
always a civilian, which
No.
Well-
It hasn't always been because Colin Powell,
that's right.
and Colin Powell actually got a
he
waiver
was,
as well.
Oh, he got a waiver.
Yeah, he got a waiver to be on the cabinet.
Right.
You know, to
Yeah.
be on the cabinet. So, and it's not Colin Powell was Secretary of State, but it's more about you have to you can't have this thing where you're coming straight from active duty military into a civilian position. You have to be kind of separated from it for a while. Long story short is that the point is that the fact that he still has military mindsets.
Right.
It's a lot of stuff that he's doing that's kind of scary, and because you're hoping that it's okay, but you're not sure. He has more millionaires and billionaires on his cabinet so far than anybody. And the Wall Street revolving door, he has guys from Goldman Sachs in there.
Stephen
Mnuchin or whatever.
Yeah.
Mnuchin or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that cabinet position because what are we trying to do? We're trying to give Wall Street the benefit here, and he may be sending a message to the world. With this kind of, I'd say, strong cabinet members, because, like you mentioned, the military aspect of it. I mean, he may be sending a message to the world. It's like, look, I'm not playing. But we'll see.
Before, right now I want to give a shout out to one of our primary sponsors really quick before we go any further. I want to give a shout out to Hope for Adam. Adam and his family. Adam and his family are close friends of mine, and they're great people, fantastic people. Adam was suffering from a rare form of blood disease akin to leukemia, multiple myeloma, and Adam is in need of a bone marrow transplant. As an update, we have found a 90% match for Adam.
Yeah.
A 90% match for Adam.
Fantastic.
Thank God. We
Thank
found
God.
a 90% match for Adam.
Where's the
And this-
match? Where are they located?
I don't know, and some of that information for the donors is confidential.
Gotcha.
But so they're prepping Adam, and we're praying that Adam's is a perfect match in regards to this 90%, if you understand what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Meaning that there's a 10% chance of rejection, but we are praying that 10% is out the door, and he will have a 100% match. And so Adam will get better. Adam, we're praying for you, and still go to hopeforadam.com or .org and donate. I've noticed through this ordeal in dealing with, I've noticed the strength of Adam, how he keeps a sense of humor. He's a family man, and sometimes he can't even touch his children because he's susceptible to germs and things, so he has to wear gloves. He has to limit his human contact. And he still has the energy. He still has the heart. He still has a sense of humor. His personality is still intact. He's a great guy, and his family they're great people. And if you guys have it in you, go to that site and continue to donate. Get a cotton swab test and see whether or not you can be a match. Because even if you don't help Adam, maybe you'll help someone else in the future. Okay,
That's right.
so we're going to get back to it. Woody said something before I did the little commercial break, and what he said was that he was talking about Trump's the way he speaks, and that maybe people will get it. I told you what bothers me is what Trump does when he's not on teleprompter. That's the thing that truly bothers me. He made another faux pas, which perhaps could be one of the biggest faux pas that you can make as a president-elect, because it's showing a disregard for history. So since 1972, we've had the one China policy. When Richard Nixon went to China and opened up the doors of trade, which is one of the major reasons that we get most of our stuff in Walmart shelves from China, and how we have all these things happening between the United States and China,
Right.
to the point where we are like a symbiotic economic system between us and them.
I think
They
we have
buy
a
our
disadvantage there, but
We're at a bit of a disadvantage. And China is probably the second largest economic power on the planet.
yes, it is.
Easily. So between the United States and China. So in this one China policy, China considers Taiwan a rogue state. They consider consider Taiwan a rogue state that's trying to assert its independence. But China says that America, if you want to do business with us, if you want us to keep buying your debt, you need to recognize and respect this one China policy and do not deal with Taiwan as if they are their own state. Don't do it. And we've pretty much told that line for all this time. I think the last time a president has spoken directly to a Taiwanese president, or a president-elect has spoken to a Taiwanese president, was 1979. But lo and behold, Donald Trump calls the president of Taiwan, which is going to cause a huge international uproar because, guys, we may think it's nonchalant, but over there they take that stuff seriously.
Very seriously.
They take this as an affront to their, it's like, hypothetically speaking, let's just say Hawaii.
But I like that, though. I like those balls. To call Taiwan, who cares what China thinks?
Yeah, you like that?
I like that.
You like that?
That's what Trump is. He's making a stance. He's saying, we're breaking all the rules. This is a new regime.
Okay.
You can't dictate what America does. We're the strongest nation in the world. I'm calling Taiwan. I'm calling anybody I want to call.
Okay. Now I want to tell you something.
But I know it does rattle. I know it rattles the fences.
Not that just that it rattles the fences, but there could be real consequences. So check this out. Right now, you know about the debt that we run. Yeah. The United States. You know who buys our debt to keep us afloat? China. Yeah. So China is your bank. Right. China buys our debt so that we can keep our government afloat. That's just the way it is. We don't like it, but that's what it is.
But China's also in debt to us.
No, China's not in debt to us. They're buying our debt. What China likes us for is the fact that we are the world's largest consumer market. We are their largest market so that they can continually ship their goods and stuff here because China is a billion of them. So because there's over 1.3, 1.4 billion people in China, they need to have GDP growth of 7, 8, 9%. And they're a communist country. So that means in a communist country, everybody's got to be taken care of. So for them to keep control of that huge country of theirs, okay, they need this type of growth. We only have 330 million, which is a lot of people, but compared to China, that's nothing. That's nothing. So they need our consumer market. They need all this stuff. We are the economic center. We are basically the consumer market for the world.
So who's in control there? I mean, so who has the purse strings if they depend on us?
No, they depend on us. We're not the only game on the street,
No,
but we're the best game on the street.
Right.
But they are holding our paper. It's a symbiotic relationship. Our debt, they are our bank. So you can ask the simple question: who's more control of who? You or your bank? When you're not your bank's only customer, you may be your bank's best customer, and it will hurt.
It's kind of a symbiotic relationship.
That's a symbiotic relationship, and it may hurt if China, had to go somewhere else. But that's you're the best client, but you're not the only client. So all that being said, that's something to think about when you're discussing things like this. When you're discussing this symbiotic relationship, also, you got to remember this. When you're dealing with trying to be machismo, it's not like we're going to put our president-elect Donald Trump in a field and put the Chinese prime minister or the ruler, whatever they call them over there, put them in the field and make those two fight if something goes down. It's us that pays. Trump is going to be behind Trump. Trump and his cronies, they're all going to be good. No matter what decisions he makes, they're going to be good. But if China pulls our debt and we're not able to float our debt and we're not able to meet our obligations and our bonds and the value of our bonds drop considerably, that can be the ruin of us financially.
Right. It said the largest portion of U.S. debt, 68 cents for every dollar, or about 10 trillion, is owned by individual investors, corporations, state and local governments, and yes, even foreign governments such as China. Yep. That hold treasury bills, notes, and bonds.
And treasury bills, notes, and bonds. Remember, especially if you are retired, lots of times, if you have your money in a mutual fund, if you're on a pension from your former employer, if you are a GM employee, that retired and you got your pension coming
401k.
You got a 401k. The reason why that's there is largely because the older you get, they put more of your money into treasury bonds because they're supposed to be the safest, stable and safest. So if they're not investing, if China decides to pull that, and start a trade war, it could be bad.
Yes.
And especially if it's done on the strength of this dude just not knowing better because he goes and contacts Taiwan just to show that he has balls and he should do it.
I don't think it's just a ripple in the water. There's got to be, a lot more serious offenses to occur before,
Well, you will hope so. You will hope so. But these are the things, little stuff like this. The reason why these things matter is because it's not just Ronnie and Woody watching this, and Jarvis. Can't forget about Jarvis back there.
Big J.
It's because the world is watching, and so these patterns of behavior, other governments pay attention and say, oh, "Okay, this is what we're dealing with."
What do you think the world thinks? Right? The world government thinks about Trump. Do you think they're like us, like everyone's sitting back, just watching, waiting, studying, analyzing? And maybe positioning themselves for to be able to take advantage of a Donald Trump in the sense where it could benefit their country, not a disadvantage to the United States.
It could go either way. It can be either them taking an advantage of Trump, or it could be them preparing themselves for the unknown. They can't put anything by him. So that means that in certain areas in regards to stability. So when Trump said this stuff about NATO when he was running for office, and how the countries in NATO should have to pay for the United States to defend them, they listen. So now, since he's president, they have to put forth contingency plans as to, okay, how are we going to react if he really does this? And so it causes uncertainty. So if it causes uncertainty, which is not the thing that you want, as an ally, you don't want uncertainty in your ally. Remember, one of the major mistakes President Obama made was when he gave that red line to Bashar Assad in Syria
and backed
off of it. And he still can't live that down because he backed off of something that he said he was going to do and he didn't do because the allies expected him to follow through. So now you have an ally that you can't really expect. You don't know what to expect.
It was that damn Nobel Peace Prize.
That's almost worse. If you have someone you don't know, he's a loose cannon, you don't know how he can expect. And then if he's someone who's broken precedents of something that's held since 1979, or at least since 1972 in the One China Accord, then you really don't know what to expect if you're sitting in some of these other hotbeds around the country. As a matter of fact, I think I have a video clip about this entire thing. Jarvis, you had that video clip on there? Play it for me, please.
Trump served notice to China with a phone call that Beijing is likely to see as a grave offense. Mr. Trump spoke with the president of Taiwan, the island nation that rebelled against the communist mainland after World War II. Reunification is not just Beijing policy, it is an obsession. And Mr. Trump's phone call may be seen as support for Taiwan independence, a raw nerve for China's leadership. Here's Chief White House Correspondent Major Garrett.
No U.S. president-elect has spoken with the Taiwanese head of state since diplomatic ties were severed in 1979. Mr. Trump's transition team said the two discussed, quote, the close economic, political, and security ties between Taiwan and the United States. And President Tsai Ing-wen congratulated President-elect Trump on his victory. Chinese considers Taiwan part of its territory, and since 1972, the U.S. government has recognized this so-called One China policy. Bonnie Glazer is an expert on U.S.-China relations.
So the notion that the United States and the incoming president of the U.S. might be supporting a pro-independence agenda will be very, very worrisome to China. And it will cause some problems in the U.S.-China relationship, potentially.
During the campaign, Mr. Trump accused China of waging economic war on the U.S. through currency manipulation.
Because we can't continue to allow China to rape our country, and that's what they're doing.
But he also promised better relations with the communist government.
I have a great relationship with China. I've made a lot of money dealing with China. China's terrific.
Since the election, Mr. Trump has frequently ignored briefing opportunities from the State Department before speaking with world leaders. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest said U.S. diplomats are ready to offer Mr. Trump advice.
Hopefully he'll take it.
Earlier this week, the Pakistani government said...
Thank you. See, and so this is what I was saying that bothers me, the bad Trump. The stuff when he's on teleprompter is good, but this off-the-cuff stuff that he considers his style and this John Wayne type of machismo, the people at the State Department, okay, they're not political. They're not political. There are certain heads. The Secretary of State is a political appointee, but when that Secretary of State moves into the office, then he may be able to hire a couple of lieutenants, but for the most part, everyone else has been there for years. There's institutional knowledge here. So that means that whenever we have a new president, a new Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Transportation, whatever, that person may come in and maybe a couple of other undersecretaries or deputy secretaries. But for the most part, the rank and file people, the people that have been there, they've been there for years. That's what we call institutional knowledge. And we have a new president who, if he's not paying any attention to institutional knowledge from the professionals who have been there for years, that should be a little worrisome. So this is what I mean, the good Trump, in regards to when he made the carrier speech, to the bad Trump, which in regards when he was just going in on Hillary, in regards to, still in campaign mode with the stuff he was saying, to the dangerous Trump that will do stuff like this, wherein he will go and talk and break precedent and speaking to the Taiwanese leader, which is a no-no, and no president has done it since 1979. That includes Democrats and Republicans. That could potentially start some sort of international trade war. It's that stuff that's dangerous because other countries are watching.
And this is just the beginning, folks.
And he hadn't even taken an oath yet.
Taken an oath yet.
That's serious. He hasn't taken an oath yet. And this is serious. And it may seem small, but almost every typhoon starts small. You have to have one drop of rain before the rest of it comes. And so
that's deep.
It was kind of deep. And, I kind of fell into that too. Thank you, Woody. Thank you. Yeah, so it's true. But it's something, that's the one thing that really concerns me. Now, again, he's my president. He's going to be my president. And we wish the best for him because by him doing a great job, then obviously, that means the rest of us are going to benefit. But like I was telling you, Woody, earlier, if he doesn't do a good job, it's not going to be him to feel the pain. It's going to be the rest of us.
The American people that feel the pain.
Exactly, and that's the part that truly, truly bothers me.
Well, I guess, term limits work in our favor in a situation where, our president is not doing a great job. So we're going to have to give him 4 years and see what he does. But we're in for a roller coaster.
Yeah, definitely.
We're in for a roller coaster ride. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, to say the least. But what a president can do in this period of time that they're in office is significant.
You heard about his tweet, right? About
what did he say?
So he tweeted in regards to black on black crime.
What did he say?
He said that. He said basically in a nutshell. Let me see if I can pull this up here. He says that blacks are killing blacks, and so it's higher than any other. The figures Trump retweeted overstated the number of homicides committed by blacks. It also appears that the Crime Statistics Bureau, San Francisco, that Trump's retweet references exist, and it's not. Basically, he was saying that more black folks kill each other, but the statistics show that people kill the folks they live amongst. I think we've talked about this on the last show. So white folks kill 86% of white folks, and then black folks kill 90% of black folks.
Okay, now
so it's like 4% difference between the races killing each other.
Okay, so and Jarvis, you put up a graphic that I like. The key is this, and I hate when people say that, and you're right. I think that crime is more likely pegged to poverty for one, socioeconomic conditions for two. Like I said before, I've always said that most people that are in jail because of something having to do with poverty, and they feel desperate. You do have those outliers in society that are just psychopaths, and they need to be locked up, really. But a lot of stuff is done out of desperation, and if we solve the problem of poverty and the lack of education, then that will make a huge dent in crime. But in regards to crime, most crimes are committed around people that you're around.
Right.
So
you want me to read the stats?
yeah, Jarvis had a
Oh, you got
graphic.
it?
You don't
Okay.
have it anymore. Jarvis had a stat up earlier that I'm sure that our viewers saw, where most blacks are killed. You gonna read something? Read it off. Read it off.
2,451 homicides of black people in 2014. 90% were committed by black people, while 8% of the offenders were white. The sort of racial disparity isn't uncommon. Of 3,021 homicides of white people in 2014, 82% were committed by white people, and 15% were black offenders.
We have a call?
No, I need to say the graphic that I showed was the one that they said that Donald Trump put out that wasn't correct.
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
fake news.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fake
Just to
news,
be clear.
basically. Yeah,
Fake
that's
news. Okay.
that's what he retweeted. He retweeted fake news.
Oh,
Thank
he
you, Jarvis.
retweeted, and you know what? Thank you,
Yeah.
Jarvis. And that was a huge issue too. Is the fake news stuff, and people actually read that stuff. Fake news.
And you can't be the president, the POTUS, and tweeting fake news.
Tweeting fake news.
Come on.
And it's common sense.
Yeah.
Most
Oh, you got it.
blacks are killed by blacks. Most whites are killed by whites. Most
Asians are killed
Latinas
by
and
Asians.
Asians. It's just the way it works because usually within that community.
Right.
And usually, and this all feeds into the other thing, which is, as I said, was poverty and economic
We
conditions.
just happen to do it better than the rest of the
Usually, if you're of let's say you're a middle class, upper middle class, and above, you tend, for the most part, at the very stratosphere, you don't have neighbors because you have so much land that you don't have to see your neighbor. You may not even know who your neighbor is. But in most middle class, upper middle class, you start to get more diverse because your kids, can go to other schools. You're more liberal. You tend to be more educated. So that means you've had,
Right.
situations where you went to college with other types of
Individuals, right.
individuals. But when you start to go down in the social economic strata, that's where people tend to get more tribal.
That's why you got Chinatown, Koreatown.
Chinatown, Koreatown, you got East LA, you got
Ghetto.
South LA. You got these pockets.
How come we're called the ghetto and everybody got a town?
Well, ghettos were originally
we should
for
be Black Town or something.
Yeah,
African American town.
ghetto was originally for Jewish people, but
Yeah.
but the point is that that's when you start to get more tribal, and that because of that and those socioeconomic conditions, that's usually why there's a lot more crime. And then, so if there's more crime because there's more poverty, then the only thing you're going to commit crimes on are those people around you. And so, thus, blacks on blacks, whites on whites, whatever.
Black Town. No lights, no electricity.
You said no lights, no electricity. Oh, brothers will find a way to get lights. We'll be sending candles all up and down the street or something. We'll find a way.
Headlights,
We
cars.
will find a
Be
way.
ghost riding every night.
Crazy. So again, we spoke about the good Trump, we spoke about the bad Trump, and then we spoke briefly about the dangerous Trump. The dangerous Trump bothers me. Bothers me. So in regards to, what's up?
He's dangerous Trump, period. Like he's still the same guy.
Yeah.
He hasn't shown us.
But I'm hoping,
Anything different.
I'm really hoping, and every time I get some, like when he made that speech in Indiana at the Carrier, I actually like, all right,
Flash.
maybe there's hope.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, maybe there's hope because I can see, I say he understands what people from my area. I'm from Michigan, born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
I went to college in Kansas. I'm Midwestern through and through.
Right.
And so I know what we think. I know how we say, put action behind your words. Faith without works is dead. We want to see you do something. And we saw that, and I saw him speak like that. I was like, okay, maybe. And then he turned right back around and
Stop reading the teleprompter.
once he gets off the teleprompter,
It's a whole nother ball game. You
Yeah.
really find out what he's talking about.
yeah, it's like so he needs a teleprompter in front of him and take away his Twitter account, please.
Not was the message, because I missed the speech. So when he got off the teleprompter, was the message any different, or was it the delivery?
No.
Or was it the delivery
The
of the message?
teleprompter at the Ohio, and when he was in Indiana, and when he was at the Carrier plant was fine. It's when he did his rally in Ohio
gotcha.
later on that evening,
Okay.
and he went right back into campaign mode, saying silly stuff. At this time, he's supposed to bring the nation together. He's supposed to be gracious in victory. And say Hillary put up a good fight, but we're gonna bring it. I'm gonna be the president for everybody. Everything's gonna happen. And he tried to start it off that way, and you knew he was looking at a teleprompter because he had his hands on the side. He was looking. He was looking. And he stepped away for a minute, and he started doing his fingers like this,
Right. Right.
and saying "big league" a lot. And then once
Big league.
big league,
Big
yeah,
league.
yeah. And then once he got off teleprompter, you could tell because he started looking. He wasn't looking aside. He started looking straight ahead. And he just went off the hinges. He just went into the Trump zone, and that's when he started saying a lot of the other stuff, because I think he feeds from the crowd. It's almost like he whips him up into a kind of lather type of fury, and that's when he starts to have this other stuff come out. And that's not good. We have a caller?
Got a caller.
Hey, caller, thank you for calling in. Can I have your name and the city you're calling in from?
Donald Cannon. Right now I'm in Los Angeles, just touched down about 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. But
Welcome, Donald.
Welcome to SoCal, Donald.
What's on your mind?
I was just calling in because to let you guys know, I try to get you guys
Can you hear me?
about that hour is so fast. I mean, you guys keep the conversation fascinating, and I missed you last week.
Thanks.
So I was looking forward to it this week, and I actually in LA right now. And most of the time, I'm overseas listening to you guys.
Oh,
I just
fantastic.
want to let you guys know
Thank
that
you.
you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, Donald. We
Thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my
Thank you.
brother. Thank you very much.
Call in again sometimes.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah,
All right.
BWS for life. Yeah.
What's that mean?
No, I can't tell you.
Okay.
I can't tell you.
All right.
BWS for life. I'll tell you after the show.
Tell me after the show, man.
Yeah. Thank you for calling in, Donald. Yeah. So, I didn't give our phone number. For anyone else that wants to call us, we're at area code 323-843-2826. Again, 323-843-2826. And I need to talk about our other sponsors, Javago Watches.
Javago.
You got to say it again, Woody. Javago
time.
Watches.
Javago.
There you go. Javago Watches, premium watch brands, styles. You got me on the thing too? Okay. Premium watch has a premium watch brand, styles in men's and women's fashions. It's close to the holidays. This makes a fantastic gift. Go to www.javagowatches.com. They have an assortment of styles, different band colors. Whether it's gold, platinum, is the bomb. And they have this kind of like acrylic type of band that's so cool and so popular now, kind of shiny. You got to check it out. So go to www.javagowatches.com.
Javago.
Yeah, I wear them. They're fantastic. Finely made timepieces.
They've upgraded.
I need to. Oh, I like that black one. I
gotta
like
get
that
that
black
reverb.
one. I want
We'll
that black
practice
one.
that.
Yeah, we have to practice
Yeah,
that
we'll
one.
practice that
So
reverb.
Javago Watches.
Hit you
Yeah,
up with something new.
I need to get me another one too. I got
Yeah.
this one. I got this one. I'm all washed
Yeah,
out.
and I got this one.
That's terrible, Woody.
That's terrible.
That's terrible. Okay. So hey, let me see what else did I have on the agenda. Oh, one of the things that I'm really going to try to make a concerted effort on. We're going on a holiday break too, guys. So I think that what I'm trying to do, if Makita Birdsong is listening, Makita Birdsong is with Job Corps LA, and I went and spoke to a group of her Job Corps students a month or two ago, and I was so moved. These kids really want to do something positive in the world. They want to make something of their lives. So I spoke to them about some issues and entrepreneurism and just how to conduct yourself in the business environment.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah. And so Makita said, how would you feel about taping a live version of Focus with Ron Frierson on our campus and have a student audience, having the people that's associated with Job Corps join us.
Can we do that, Jarvis?
Can we do that? Can we do that
Yeah.
remotely?
Yeah.
I think we should try to do that. And it's gonna be a really fast type of turnaround. So I'm gonna have to get things organized. But maybe we'll do that one before our holiday break. I'm gonna see if I can make it happen. If I can make it happen, what you will see is that you're gonna see us in front of a whole sea of young adults that are really trying to make their way in the world, or you're gonna see just me and Woody sitting up on the screen.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, Woody,
off the teleprompter.
I got to tell you, your suit is on point today. I told you
thanks,
that
man.
before. It's on point.
I
You know
appreciate
that
that.
Woody Wilson is one of the best custom clothiers in the country.
Yes, sir. Straight bespoke clothing. 20 years in the business, folks.
Explain to the people what bespoke means. Woody.
Bespoke, bench made. Back in the day, you would go to your tailor in the 1800s, and you would have him make some pants or his jacket for you, and you would shake hands, and it would be spoken. And so that kind of came out of that exchange of information, and then it evolved into Benchmade, where you lay a naked piece of cloth over a pattern. So I take your measurements, we cut a pattern out of a piece of paper, we lay the fine cloth over the paper pattern and cut out your sleeve, your leg, and your chest, and we sew it all together. Do a fitting, and then 3 weeks later, the garment's finished. So it is actually made for you from scratch. That is bespoke, not custom.
You know what? When I go home, I want a bespoke sandwich.
You know, it's kind of been adapted. Bespoke jewelry, bespoke, automobiles. So it's kind of been crossing all different industries.
Okay, I have another. Nanobright. Nanobright is vitamins for the skin. Nanobright is it's a skin moisturizer that's infused with vitamin C, vitamin B12, and is made of microfine organic particles that penetrate the skin better than what your normal skin cream could possibly do. And it's fantastic for people with olive or darker color skin because it helps reduce hyperpigmentation, which is like if you had a scar or something that started to get dark.
Right.
It'll take care of that for you. It's great for you if you have acne scars. It's a fantastic.
It's amazing.
Product.
It's amazing because I don't think
product.
Does your audience know the before? When you used to be ugly before you start using Nanobright?
Yeah, I used to. You guys ever know?
Look at you now.
I'm gonna tell you. I changed my
amazing.
name to Ron Frierson. My name used to be Biz Marquis.
Yeah, Biz Marquis. I thought you were
That's Biz Marquis. I was Biz Marquis. We have a lot of people
Shanae,
from across.
I thought your name was Shanae.
Shanae was a girl. Well,
was that Martin?
Yeah, that was Martin. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx.
But then Nanobright helped bring me to Ronnie. I could change my name.
Night and day.
Yeah, it's a night and day.
I used to get all the love when we used to go out. Now,
not no more.
Can't hold a candle now.
Yeah, you never got all the love. Don't be tripping.
Well, that's what light skin was in.
Yeah, that was in the 80s. I ain't know you then.
We back,
I didn't
man.
know you, Drake.
We are back. Yes.
So listen, guys. I got to give
legend.
I want to give some love to the people here. I have Valerie Adams, and I'm gonna start trying to give you guys on Facebook some love because it's really cool.
Yeah.
Have Michelle back in Saginaw. Hi, Michelle.
What's
and
up?
we have Dawn Hammond, my sister Dawn, back in Carolina.
Dawn. What's up?
My actual sister and my mother are watching. Gina and
Mom's
Georgette.
watching?
Yep.
Hey.
My brother Errol
She had a
Williams.
birthday
Is
No,
so
anniversary.
I want to say
Happy
where you're
anniversary.
calling in from. Okay. Well, I don't know what Valerie is.
She's in
Michelle's
Seattle.
in Saginaw.
Seattle.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we got Seattle. We got Saginaw. We've got Topeka, Kansas. We've got
Baltimore, Maryland.
We have Dallas,
Got
Texas.
my mom listening.
We have Dallas, Texas. We've got here in Los Angeles, of course. We have Dubai. We have Philippines. Wow, it's fantastic. John Michelle's calling from the Philippines. JM. Thank you, not calling, but reached in. That's one of the cool things. So I get these numbers of our viewers and listeners from across the globe, and it's pretty cool. And it's really cool because I get to add up the numbers. When they send me the numbers, we get the numbers we get on Facebook, we get the numbers we get on YouTube, we get the numbers we get on Stitcher, we get the numbers we get on iTunes. We got all these different, and on the UBN website as well, Universal Broadcasting Network. So we get all these different ways to get our word out there and what we're talking about. And it's been fantastic.
I mean,
and
the growth is
all
phenomenal
around the world,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
That's the great thing about it.
That's the great thing about
Yeah.
it. So thank you guys so much for listening. And listen, I think we're down to. You got any last words for the people, Woody?
I just want to say to everyone, it's the holiday season. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Peace, love, and happiness. And you don't have to buy me anything because I'm not going to buy you anything. That's pretty much it.
Spoken like Woody Scrooge. Okay. Hey, God bless you guys. Thank you for starting your weekend with us like always. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Focus with Ron Frierson. What's in this cup?
Thank you for focusing.
Thank you for focusing with us for an hour, and thank you for starting your weekend with us.
That's right.
Have a great one, and we will see you next week.
God bless. Be safe.
Bye-bye.